The Story of the Mayflower. In search for a new home, the Mayflower left Plymouth, England in September 1620. There were about 123 people on board. They were traveling to America to join the Virginia colony, soon left England because they could not practice their religion freely. There, others left hoping to find ways to make money. They all hoped life in America would be better. Today, we remember these people as the Pilgrims. The Mayflower took 66 days to cross the Atlantic Ocean. The ship sailed, bad weather blew it off course. The Pilgrims reached land near Cape Cod, which is on the coast of what is now Massachusetts. They were about 200 miles, 322 kilometers north of the Virginia colony. The Pilgrims were told to settle in Virginia. If they stayed where they were, they might be breaking English law. The Pilgrims also didn't know anything about the area. They decided to sail to Virginia, but the rocky coast nearly sank the ship. They returned to Cape Cod Bay. On November 11, 1620, the Pilgrims signed the Mayflower Compact. They promised to be loyal to the King of England to show they didn't mean to break any laws. In fact, the compact also created a government. The Pilgrims agreed to listen to colony leaders and follow the laws. The Pilgrims decided to build their new home where they were. However, the Wampanoag nation already lived here. A long winter. On December 1620, the Pilgrims chose the west side of Cape Cod Bay for their new home. They called it Plymouth Colony. The Pilgrims faced a hard winter. The weather was very cold, and many of them became sick. They took food from an empty native village close by. So many died from hunger. Hunger. More than half the pilgrims died before the spring of 1621 as the days became warmer. The remaining pilgrims had a problem. Their success depended on a good harvest. They didn't know much about the land or local plants, so they didn't know what crops would grow. Local help. In the spring of 1621, the pilgrims met Tis- Tinsquotum. He was a member of the Patuxet trip. He played an important role in the Pilgrims' survival. Years before, Spanish sailors had enslaved Chinquantum and sold him in Europe. There, he learned to speak English before he escaped and went back to his home. People brought disease from Europe, which spread quickly to native peoples. When Tisquantus came back, he thought what that his entire troop had been killed, but just to help the pilgrims and why he taught them how to plant corn and other crops and showed them where to fish and hunt. He also worked with local native leaders to avoid battle. Thanks to this quantum's help, the pilgrims had a good harvest that year. That fall, they shared a feast with Masoti, a Wampanoag chef, and his people. The feast is now thought of as the first Thanksgiving. More English arrive. Over the next 50 years, the friendship between the pilgrims and the Wampanoag people weakened. More English people arrived in America and they visited more and more Wampanoag land. The English also brought mortality disease to America. This disease spread quickly and killed most of the native peoples in New England. Today, the descendants of the Wampanoag and other native peoples gather each year on Thanksgiving Day in Plymouth, Massachusetts, rather than celebrate the mark. It is a day of mourning for their peoples and how they suffered. Conclusion: the arrival of the Pilgrims in New England marked an important shift in history. The Pilgrims and English settlers who followed them changed the land and disrupted the lives of native peoples living there. In the beginning, however, the Wampanoag helped the Pilgrims, and there was peace between them. Without this Quentin and the Wampanoag people sharing what the pilgrims would have struggled and many more of them might have died. Over time, however, English disease and war killed most of the native peoples in the area. Their complicated story is important to the history of English settlement in America.